Good day, good day. Welcome, welcome. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm Jay, and this is Homeschool Yo Kids Podcast. Before we get started, please be sure to check out homeschoolyourkidsexpo.com. Check out our traveling schedule, see all the nice places we're coming to, because we're definitely coming to a city near you. So be sure to check out our schedule for 2025. Yes. Oh, and remember, homeschooling was never meant to be done alone. It takes a village. So major shout out to a couple of our sponsors at our mission to ensure that you find your tribe. So Classical Conversations, it's a great national curriculum provider. They also offer community support, so check them out, Classical Conversations. And then Camped, which is an amazing free app to download. And it just provides you a community, tutors, teachers, anything that's in your area. It shows up like a little Zillow map, like, oh, boom, let me check this out. So check them out. Two great sponsors, and I appreciate them. We appreciate them. So today we have with us Cindy. Cindy, introduce yourself.
Hello, I'm Cindy Egleton, and I am the co-founder and CEO of Brilliant Cities. That started as Brilliant Detroit. Our work is to create what we call kid success neighborhoods, neighborhoods where kids and families have everything they need right in the middle of the neighborhood. We repurpose a house that becomes that hub where we provide everything there. So I'm thrilled to be here.
Yes, and I'm so excited to learn more about all that you all do. So first, how did you get on this journey? How did you get into education?
Okay, Jay, you're hitting the great questions right off the bat. So thank you. This has been a journey. So first off, we started in Detroit and we're really at scale. I'll talk a little bit about that. But I have a couple truths about me. First off, most recently, prior to co-founding this organization, I was a funder. I was one of those. And I was able to see, I had a $60 million portfolio, and in that I saw what worked and what didn't work so well. I felt also that a lot of times what we were doing was really good work, but it wasn't really getting to the center of things, and it wasn't really involving the parents and caregivers with their children, which is what was needed, in my view. And I wanted to do something different. I met my co-founders, and I'll talk a little bit about that, and we launched this. The other truth about me is I am a first generation high school graduate. My family came from poverty, and that shaped me. It shaped me in terms of understanding what do you need to do to change generation to generation what's happening. My family really believed in education and really instilled that in me. And I was really fortunate to go on a different path than even some of my siblings. And so this is a really personal journey for me. When I met my co-founders, what we had, they were looking for something to leave a legacy to, and I was looking for transformation. And I had studied a lot of models, in particular Harlem's Children's Zone, but also a model called Magnolia Place. And Magnolia Place was doing many of the things in a way that Harlem's Children's Zone was, but it was involving the neighborhood in a really, really deep way. And I wanted that. I believe in neighborhoods. In my own childhood, it was the neighborhood that helped my mom and her siblings, who were all put in foster care for a number of years when they came back. And so I thought, let's take all these lessons I've learned along the way, along with my co-founders, and apply them. And Jim, my one partner, came up with the idea out of houses. So when we started, nobody knew what the heck we're talking about. Do people live there? What do you do? How does this look? And almost from day one, we had a waiting list of neighborhoods because we did not go anywhere unless we were invited in. We hired from the neighborhoods we were in, we still do, and we formed an advisory. So this became something that the power is in the hands of the families and the neighborhood. And as a result, we grew, when I first started this, from 50 participants to now 26,000 in the course of 9 years. And we have committed to 24 neighborhoods. We can actually do population level change in Detroit. Our outcomes have been 3 reading levels of growth, and we've seen significant, very significant improvement in education, health, family support. And then in addition to that, and I'm giving you all these facts and figures, we have 42 cities that have asked us to come and 12
wow.
countries. Now, here's the deal. What we're showing is that, in fact, parents and caregivers should be at the center of everything for their kids. Communities, when they come together, which is what they want to do, have real power to change paths. And so, really there's 3 things. One, how to do early childhood differently because it's belly to 8, and so much happens in early childhood. 2, how to do a hyper-local approach where you really know people. It's built on relationships, which we're all missing. It's a disconnected world and it's a connection. And the third is we work with partners. We have over 200 partners in our work in Detroit, and we'll continue that way, that are all coming together for one thing, which is to have lives be better for kids and families. It's a beautiful, beautiful thing. It's really the work of my lifetime. And so our role right now is to help others know about this, to spread the word, both in doing more work. Philly is our next city. But also in terms of encouraging people to follow their dreams and to do things a little differently, where power and agency are in the right hands and our outcomes are better in many cases than most, because people are coming, they're coming again and again and again. And the more they come, the better it is for themselves and their families. So I hope that kind of gives a description
Yes.
of what we're doing and why.
Yes.
Yeah.
That is so amazing. When I first went, my first time going to Milwaukee, I saw a bunch of abandoned houses. So much so that they have started decorating the boards on the abandoned
Yeah.
houses with memorials and whatnot, And I thought about that. I was like, what if we turned these into, some type of educational pub, like some kind of type of, school, micro school. I thought on the micro school level of thinking, but to know that, okay, boom, they're already doing this.
Jay, I can help whoever wants to do that because what has happened with this is it's a beacon of hope. And I
Yes.
learned that early on. Like, I thought we were doing something cool, but I had no idea how impactful this would really be. And early on, 2 things happened in terms of what you're talking about, because we are taking abandoned houses and converting them. And in one of our first neighborhoods, I was giving a little talk. We didn't have anything on the windows yet, no blinds. And I said, look, we're going to have blinds on the window. And one of the people that was there that lived in the neighborhood, she started to cry and she said, Cindy, can I say something? I'm like, of course. And she goes, look, at this house was abandoned for 9 years. I've lived in this neighborhood for 12 years. And then all of a sudden, we started to see a new porch go on, new windows. It really became, it wasn't an eyesore anymore. And she said, and I was standing on the corner, which was right across the street from it the other day, and I looked inside, and every window had kids and families in it. And she said, this is now hope. And I think that's the beautiful thing. One other quick story that happened right around that time in a different neighborhood. We do community dinners also, because part of this is not just programs, it's how do we reconnect with each other? There's power in that, right?
Yes.
And one of the family members, she knitted 75 hats. Now, Jay, I can't knit a row. So I'm like, how the heck did you do this? And
75.
I know. And how long did it take?
Right?
And she's like, it took me a month. And I'm like, wow,
Mm.
and then she said, look, and I don't remember the exact number of years. She said, I've lived in this neighborhood for about 35 years. I raised my kids here. This was my home and my neighborhood.
Yes.
Then it wasn't. It didn't feel like it. And now it does. And so I think there's something really magical about physically changing an environment. And then we also take side lots and convert them into pocket parks, which the families, the neighborhood actually co-designs what that will look like. Again,
Mm,
they know what's best for them. And
yes.
it's just an amazing thing. I mean, I go to bed at night sometimes like, okay, there's this issue, there's that issue, but I wake up every morning full of joy and hope. And in such a disconnected world, like right now, it's a time to double down, find our connections, and create more of them. Because if we can become a more connected world, we will be a better world. Many of the neighborhood schools are no longer there, even the neighborhood churches. And so the power in this is more than I could ever imagine.
Right. Oh my gosh, talk about being a pillar of hope. This is beyond, this is everything. Because I feel like school should be like the center focus of a community. I really feel because of what all takes place in a school, like just how I feel like schools are underplayed. Like,
Yeah.
we don't really pay attention to just how foundational a school is in a child and a family's life in general. So to know that you all are building like many accessible schools to families, like that are welcoming, the community into, oh my gosh, talk about a
And
game changer.
the main thing, I say, look at, we have all these great outcomes and it's wonderful. The main thing people find is each other. And I agree with you with the schools.
Mm,
So that is the other thing, is we don't do this work alone. I call it Kid Success Neighborhoods because it's the neighborhood. And so we're connecting, we're refinding each other and how we can all participate in a world that is there for kids and families. And look at the worlds and the places where kids and families rule are better places. And so there's so much more that can be done, right?
of
And,
course.
people have reached out to us also and said, could we do this for veterans? Could we do this for health? And the answer is yes, of course you can. And
Right.
so that's an iteration, not yet. We're busy getting Philly up right now, but that's an iteration that could come in the future is how do we create these caring places where people know they belong? It's really
Yes.
important.
Yes, yes. Oh my gosh. You touched on so much, like even from your own personal take on, being the first generation to go to high school and graduate from high school, all the way to like understanding the need for cycle breakers, generational breakers, then understanding that we need each other. Like
We
we
do.
need
We're
yes.
social human beings, right?
Yes, we need each other. So I know this is fulfilling work. This is just like, okay, so let's get on the structure like of what this actually looks like. So you say y'all serve belly to eighth grade
Yeah,
or belly to 8 year old. Yes, belly to 8 year old. So are you looking to expand? Because that's what, third, second, that's like second, third grade.
that is a good, it's not just a good question, it's a great question. It's our biggest pain point. I'm going to be really straight about it. Like a house is only so big.
Right,
From
right.
day one, our family members have said, you have to serve our older kids. And
Mm,
so we did form a committee and we are working on what we call aging out now. And so we're going to do that in two ways. We're looking to find places that are as holistic and whole family for kids that are 9 to 12 in particular, because there's not a lot
okay.
out there for them. And then we're starting a mentor program. And on that
Mm.
mentor program, it's the older kids that are going to mentor the younger kids. And we already have started some of that. And it's simply beautiful. Imagine a child that has learned how to read really well, mentoring a younger kid and reading books to them. And so there's a sense of purpose and care across the board. So we need to expand that, and we're working on that right now. But it honestly has been one of the big pain points. And our families who tell us what they need all the time. I mean, really, I mean, a thing that I've learned in life is you can see because I have white hair, is I used to think in my younger years I needed to know a lot. I don't need to know anything. Need to know how to listen. And
Mm.
so I listen and then we figure out how to do.
Right. Oh, I love that because I didn't learn how to listen until I was like 35. So
That's younger than I was when I learned it. It took me longer. I was more stubborn.
no, this is amazing. Okay, so we have belly to 8-year-old, and is this a place where they're coming like whole day from 8 to 3? Like, how does the day look?
Yeah, so the day looks different for each person because we all have different needs. And each neighborhood is open for different hours, again,
Okay.
because each neighborhood has different dynamics. So what we do when somebody comes in the door is we say, if you can wish upon a star, what do you want for yourself and your family? So we're starting about dreaming, okay?
Okay.
And then we match you up. There's different things you need if your child's 0 to 3. And for you too, because we work with both adults and children. There's programming for kids and children together, kids only, and adults only. So you can get all of it. So while your child is learning, you're learning. So let me give an example of what this looks like, because I think that will help. One of our participants, her name is Maureen, and she came and I talked to her, and she said to me, Cindy, I want you to listen to me. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to listen. And she said, I am 26. I have 4 children, and I've had a hard life. Right now, I don't read very well. I've been homeless. I've had mental health challenges. My kids aren't doing very well in school. Nobody, and I mean nobody, loves their kids like me. I would do anything for them. And I'm telling you this because I've been to a lot of organizations, and a lot of times they gave me what I needed, but I never once felt cared about until now, until she started coming in Brilliant stores. And what that meant for her is that her children and her were at the location 5 days a week. And we even opened up on Saturdays to do more programming at her request. And her kids, depending on where they were either getting pre-literacy or tutoring. They were doing play and learns together so they could work on behavior. We tried to put her in a GED class. We couldn't because her reading level was at a first grade, so we put her in a literacy class, and so that she could increase her literacy. All of these things, we did nutrition classes, exercising classes, and as she said to me, we learned together. She had a dream of doing a peer-to-peer mental health program, which we launched, which is called Brilliant Minds. We trained her to be a peer mentor coach, and that is now throughout the entire city of Detroit, and we launched it with her. And the outcomes are actually better than the highly evidence-based programs because we have many of those, but here's where they are right now. She went from reading at a first grade reading level to a 6th grade reading level. Her kids are all at a 3.0 or better. Her daughter won the reading award last year. She bought her first house and she works for us. That's what generation to generation change looks like. And that's where you need to do multiple things to move the needle. Does that make sense?
Yes, no, it does because you talked about offering GED classes, you offer nutrition classes, um,
Exercise.
and yes, exercise, and then essentially you taught her business. You taught her like you help her establish an idea, um, and you created it and built on it and then employed her. Um, this is deep, honey. Like Cindy,
It
y'all
is
ain't doing some things, Cindy.
It,
Oh my
it
gosh.
is deep because you often look at there's school and then there's also what do you need to get for a wraparound. And then there's these things like which is like somebody goes to a program, but does it change your life? I think about
Mhm.
myself and my family, my mom's family, and we're in this for you to have
Right.
everything you need to lead the path you want in your life to success. And we don't dictate that. This is something that
Yes.
families choose themselves. They can choose, over 200 partners. They can choose from many things. We help them based on where they are and what their dreams are and what will really be good for them. But that's how it works.
That is so beautiful. Because so many times people are told information or given information, but it's like, okay, well, what do I do next? Like, like, okay, okay,
And
you've
and
given
and
me this, but what do I do?
And Jay, you just named something a couple of years ago. Jess said to me, Cindy, do you realize that all the things I laid down for you came true? My dreams came true. And I said, then we need some different dreams.
Right? New
Look at
dreams.
uh, Also poverty is pervasive. You don't just get out of it. It takes a while. And it takes a lot of back and forth. You're doing good, you're not doing good, all of those things. And we want to have families be able to transform their paths
Yes.
themselves.
Yes. Like you say, you're setting it up so that the next generation looks different.
That's right. So
Like,
Jazz's life is better. Her children will be much better.
indeed, indeed. And I love that you focus, like you said, on parent and child because it's more than just the child being okay. The parent has to be okay also.
That's right. That's right. Look at kids don't raise themselves.
Right.
Right. And sometimes they're out of the equation when they need to be in the equation.
Yes, and parents like they are I always talked about like we send a child to school and then like the teacher does whatever they do in the classroom, but then essentially they have to go back home to the parent. And it's like we don't have that connection with school and parent, but ultimately everything that they've learned or done within that day can be undone soon as they walk through the door if the parent's not on board of the building up of the child or recognizing that they're fundamental in the child's educational plan also. So it's like if we don't partner with the parent, then all of the work that's done in those 7 hours at school are essentially just what? Like wasted, really.
Yeah, they're not where they need to be for sure. It's
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yes. And so okay, y'all have how many of these structures in Detroit?
All right, so we've committed to 24, and the
Mhm.
reason is we did a study, and I'll give you an example of how that's beginning to look, which was how many did we need if we got the same outcomes, serving the same number of people at each site to do population level change. And so it's 24. So during the summer, we do a thing called Detroit Reads, and this is what it looks like with not as many as we have right now. We've been able to have 92% of kids not have summer slide and 85% raise their literacy and actually serve more kids than the public schools. That's getting into deep change across the city. And that's what we wanted to do. It's really showing that system change happens at local level and you build it that way. So that's what we want to do in each city that we enter in. It'll be a different number of locations that we need, but that's how we'll approach it.
Gotcha, gotcha. Okay, so how big are these houses?
As big as we can get them. But it's we try to have houses that are at least 22,000 square feet.
Okay.
Can be a little bit bigger than that as well. Um, but the bigger the better, actually, because they can get pretty full. So,
Yeah, I can imagine. Okay, like capacity for you all looks like what? Because I'm sure it differs for all the spaces, but the average capacity would be what?
okay, so at each location, we say that we serve about 150 families, and we do more than
Oh,
that.
wow.
So you triple that because there's usually 2 kids per family, and that's how many are coming through each year.
Okay, through for
Each
24.
location, yes.
Yes,
Right.
okay. That's a lot of families impacted.
It is. And last year we had 6,000 individuals we served. And so and it'll continue to grow. But you know what? We need to serve that many to get to that population level.
Indeed. And then that's still only from belly to 8 years old. So it's like that kind of gives you the idea of just how much this is needed.
Exactly. That's right.
Oh, wow. So, okay, now you say y'all are hopping to Philly, but essentially y'all still have these to build out too, because like you said, the 9 to 12-year-old is your next to serve.
Yeah, we have still work to do to get deeper. We always want to do more and better, but at the direction and input of the families we're working with.
Indeed, indeed. Okay, so more about how this looks. Is it workshop based? Is it like classes based? Is there a schedule that's given prior to and the family sign up, or the essentially the parents create the schedule? Like how does that work?
Look at you, actually are asking great questions. Oh, I love that. Um, so there's 3 ways we offer programming. One is you can just drop in. Okay. 2 is it's all year long. Our literacy efforts are all year long. And 3 is there's cohorts. And both the cohorts and the all year long, you have to sign up for, right? We help you to do that. Drop in, you can just drop in. And the reason we do it that way is you never know what somebody's going to do to dip their toe in, to get to know more, um, to be able to be helpful in those ways. And so that's how it can look. And so you create your own schedule as a family, right? We help you with what that is. So if you wished upon a star that you want your kids to read really well, we're going to do that. If you wished upon a star that you want to be healthier, those are some of the things that we're going to help you with. And then we'll help you find other things when you tackle your dreams.
How many people do you have working here, like in the one
Yep.
school?
So we have 92 staff at what we now have 20 open locations. And at each location, we have at least 2 staff, but then also there's program partners coming in all day long as well. That's how that works. And
Mhm.
so it works really well. And in each of our locations, at least one of the staff needs to be from the neighborhood, or they from the neighborhood or a former participant. And so that's really our secret sauce in a lot of ways.
Nice. Yes, having them be directly related to that area. So
Yeah.
you have like because I know I was talking to a man when we were in Oakland, and I feel like Oakland needs so much work, in my opinion. Like in my opinion, Oakland needs a lot of work. Okay. But I was talking to a man who was native of Oakland, like this is where a couple generations had been, but he was talking about the fact that families are moving out, like people who are locally, like from that area, everyone's kind of selling their homes, their properties, and going elsewhere. And you don't really kind of think about what that means for a community until you see that people are going essentially and buying that space up and then building, structures that are like big apartment buildings or things of that nature, not necessarily like a community, um, like something that's going to bring community together, or serve community in a way that is beyond making money.
Yeah, I get it. And I think that those are some of the ways to kind of go in and help build the trust and also build in different neighborhoods and areas, there's going to need to be different structures to find where these get located as well. And you're giving some examples of that. And that's why, like in Philly, we were on the ground for 2 years. We were invited into the city, but we have to finally get invited by the residents of a neighborhood. So it's actually going in, getting an understanding of the community, because that's what we're building from, and then working to understand all the different groups, partnerships, etc., and then the residents before we will say yes. But by that time, you have a pretty good idea of how you can structure this. And you have really good questions on the structure here.
Yes. And I feel like everywhere, like every city that we've traveled to so far has a bunch of abandoned houses, like even buildings. Like I talked on Milwaukee because Milwaukee stood out the most to me, but everywhere we've gone, there are abandoned places, essentially.
That's right. That's right. And it's almost, and I just thought of this. This is new. I'm thinking about this because it is rebuilding the actual fabric in a neighborhood as well as rebuilding the connections in a neighborhood for families. There's a very, I think, beautiful and almost like it's the spirit of what we do. I say all the time, we have orange doors on every location, right? So people can find them. But I say, you come in, you get the program, you get fellowship, you get all of this, but the most important thing you get is you find each other and you find that sense of being seen again. So, but every community is different. People often ask us, okay, what are the demographics? So we can always report that, but we find every neighborhood, they can have the same quote unquote demographics, but they have different things that make up the uniqueness of that neighborhood. And that's what we try to bring out.
Indeed, indeed. Um, you have my wheels turning, Cindy. So I'm trying to stay present. I really am, but it's just like, oh my gosh.
And it's early where you are, so
Right? And
for
so it's like
our,
system
for our
overload right now.
listeners, it's 5 a.m. in the morning, which is very, very early.
I know. Well, 5:36 now. Like, we've had time, but yeah, so but my wheels are turning because like this is true. Like this is what I've been thinking about with doing travels. Like, what if we were to put these buildings or these, open spaces to use education wise or library wise? I love libraries, libraries, bookstores, just anything that is going to help and serve the community. It's just my thought, and to know that there are organizations that have already like it's that when I saw like because I just googled micro schools in Detroit, and then it showed brilliant Detroit, and then it showed all these locations. I'm like, what is this? Like, how do they have all these micro schools? I'm so intrigued
Hey,
right
I'm
now.
going to say it right now. You need to come
I
and
am.
okay, and we'll explore it. We'll get an idea and let's dream together for your dreams. May
Yes.
not be exactly this, it might be something like this, but let's figure it out because I really admire you and what you do and how you saw something for your own kids and then you're building this across the country. Like you
Yes.
rock. So I
Oh, thank you. You do too, Cindy.
this is something, let's do that. Let's explore that and let's encourage everybody that is listening to think about those things and how this might be something amazing for them.
Indeed, because I'm just thinking about all of the young or just the new micro schools that are being established, and a lot of them are being established in homes. I think I just talked to someone in Chicago, and they had a micro school in the house. She said, "Oh, our space is in the house, so it made because I was looking for a venue to host our Chicago Expo." And she was just like, I don't know if it's big enough. But once again, it's in a house though. Or no, it's not even in the house. It's in an apartment. It's in our apartment.
Yeah.
So but they rented the apartment just for the school. So,
That's a cool model as well, in a sense that we've thought of sometimes, is
mm,
to have, don't know how to do it because of the space piece, but within an apartment building, because then it serves a community there. So
yeah.
I think there's all sorts of ways you can think about this, but at the center are certain principles that are the family is at the center. You're,
Whole family.
yeah, you're designing this around that, and just really the strength of the neighborhood and community. And so I think there's certain principles that you can apply anywhere. And I know we're going to be fast friends here and talk a lot further.
Yes. Cause like I said, you just got my wheels turned. Cause it's like because of the family, the aspect of helping the parents to establish themselves and essentially changing the lives of the whole family. Cause it's no, I talked to so many people, but Michelle Guy, she talked about healing yourself so that you heal the generations that follow,
Mhm.
and you heal the generations before you also when you heal yourself. And so when I established Homeschool Your Kids, I talked on the healing aspect. I talked about, providing families with the tools to not only lead their children's education, but also be able to understand the importance of love and healing as a parent, because that right there offsets everything, and that kind of changes. I don't know if you've seen the trend. I'm all over the place, but I don't know if you've seen the trend where they're doing like the sayings from like the older sayings, like a hard butt makes a soft, no, a hard head makes a soft, things like that. I don't know, I'm all over the place, but like,
I think what you're saying, I think, is that there's something essential here, which is love at the center.
yes.
And I really believe that that is what is an essential element, really radical love. And it's important. And I think I'm going to give a different example of that. In just a kind of weird way, but I say this to people is we need a world where we do love and we do see each other. Not all the flaws and things, but we see each other and we help each other. I'll give you an example. Many years ago, I had somebody that worked for me, and she was anorexic and bipolar, and she was also the best editor I've ever worked with. And a year into working together, she gave me this tiny little box. It's just so little. And I said, "This is so beautiful." And she said, "No, the present's inside. The message is inside." So now I'm too old and I couldn't read it. But what it said was, "Thank you for seeing me."
Mm.
And that was such a powerful lesson for me. She's now an editor at a newspaper. She's overcome so many things, and she attributes it to being seen as a person, not as all these other things. And many, many times people have said different things to me like that. And I think it's time that we begin to see each other and see each other in our systems, like schooling, etc., in a way that we feel valued. And when you feel valued and when you feel you belong, things go better.
It really does. Like you could talk to someone in their 50s and they just still want to be seen. Like, it doesn't go away, especially when you feel like you haven't been seen your whole life. So
Yeah.
we talk on the education level because I'm a former classroom teacher. And we always talk about the relationships needed to be established prior to trying to reach a child. Because a lot of times we go and we jump into lessons and we think, oh, you could just teach a child as soon as they come in the door, sit down, da da da. But it's like they have to know that you care to even receive anything from you. before they open up to anything that you're dishing out, they have to know where you're coming from. And it has to be a place of care. They have to feel seen, they have to feel heard, they have to feel loved, essentially. That's a part of the loving process. So y'all are doing so. I don't, oh my gosh, this is amazing. This is
It's
amazing.
Well, it's amazing to talk together, really and truly. I'm just really appreciative of this. And like I said, I know we're going to talk more. I know people can find us by going on our website, or even emailing questions to info@brilliantcities or info@brilliantdetroit.org. I think together, Jay, let's keep spreading the word and making a world where people do matter and they see that they matter. I think that's
Yeah.
what this is.
Yes, big time, big time. I think you've given people a lot to think on in regards to the things that they can do within their own community. Even if it's just establishing like, some little meetup times where y'all meet up at the park, but then, we have all these home associations and it's like it should be more about it should be more than just, whose yard is the best or like
Exactly.
those associations could do a lot more also in bring a community together. But I think the biggest message that I feel like you daunted on this whole time is community and how much we really need each other. We really, really need each other to support, to lean on, to just know, hey, if I don't have this, I can go and ask my neighbor or I can go and talk to them about this and know that we can learn and grow together. And that's so exciting. This is just
You're totally on point, and I'm going to say this is that what I say about Brilliant, and I hope I can say this about so many, and I think I can say it about you, is organizations provide programs and services. You could fill in schools provide programs and services. A community is there for each other. We need both. That's what I say. It's just much more powerful. So, geez, I just want to say, Jay, thank you so much. This
of
was such an
course.
enjoyable morning. Thank you for spending your very early morning with me.
Of course, of course. Okay, so I have two more things for you.
Okay.
Because you've given us so much. But let's bring it back to you and how you self-care with all that you're doing, founding, funding, bringing community, relationship, all that good stuff. How do you make sure that you still wake up energized and ready to make a difference?
Okay, so I say this with love. I suck at self-care, but
Oh my gosh.
I like I get asked that all the time, and let me just be real. But what I am good about is making sure that I'm fulfilling what is at the center of my being. And I say that's a head, heart, and shoulders. And when it gets off, I walk away. And I think some of that comes with, I wish I had it when I was younger, but I'm older and I'm braver. And if something isn't serving what my core purpose is, it's not worth my time. And so I really pay a lot of attention to that. There are times that I need to stare at a wall, and just be quiet. But I think that's what we are sometimes missing is finding, refreshing ourselves, but being ourselves. And that is something that I have no problem doing all the time.
Okay, so you recognize when it's time to chill out,
Yes.
but we don't have any like, day to day or week to week thing that I make sure that I do
Yeah.
per se.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, no worries. That's fine. Long as you know when to walk away and you know when to go take a nap. That matters also. Okay, so before I let you go, three things like if parents didn't hear anything else, please hear this. What are three things you want to leave them with?
Excellent. You matter. Make sure you know your dreams and can name them. Um, and Nothing is more important than what you do with your children every day.
Mm,
Those are the three things.
yes, yes. Those are good things. You do matter. I always want parents, anyone, everyone. I used to tell this to my students all the time, but understand how important you are. Think about the world we live in as being a puzzle and you being a piece to the puzzle. No matter how small that puzzle piece is, it's still a piece to the puzzle. And if the puzzle does not have that piece, then it's incomplete, right?
That's right.
So understand you're needed. Find your passion, find your purpose, find your community, build your community. If it's not around, I talk to a lot of people who take the time to build what they are lacking. So if it's not something that you see or something that you feel is for you, build it because others will come. They always come because someone else is
That's
looking
right.
for the same thing. Okay. So build it, but understand that we do really need each other. We do. The divide and conquer game has been running long enough. So let's get past that and come together and help and love on each other because that's all. Love goes so far. It goes so far, Cindy. So I appreciate you. Thank you for brilliant
Right back
Detroit's,
at
brilliant
you.
cities. Yes. Thank y'all for all that you're doing.
And I'm going to just say to you something I say often, which is love, love. This has been an absolute delight.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. All right, y'all. Homeschool
All
your
right.
kids.
Take care. Bye-bye.